Everything seems to be normal. Just making sure that YouTube's catching up. There we go. And we are live once again. As today's title implies, I'm going to be playing some reserves, and specifically just 1.0 lineups as well. Mainly just because I want to do something different than grinding top tier battleships and high tier cruisers. And on the other hand, to actually unlock my coastal camos, because apparently I haven't done a single point of damage in a PT6 ever since the camos came out, and that needs to be rectified. So let's jump right into it. That was a surprisingly short queue for a 1.0, and it's the new map. I haven't played this map yet. And I am kind of curious what I'm going to do on it. C seems a bit too open. A is a bit... Ooh, where do I go? Maybe like around the side? To the P point? Or like around here, stop it. Yeah, that's what I'll do. I'll go to this big old triangular island. Stop people from getting into A and maybe try and sneak it behind them to B. I'm curious how you would approach this map. Yeah, that's a 15 mil. That is also on my list to play today. And that thing. Weather conditions are making my tracers a bit hard to see, but we'll deal with that. Okay, MPK 163 is a bit of a higher BR target. Only 3 people on either team, and we do not really have many IBR boats. I'll just push on to A because I don't think there's going to be any real threats. SKR is not that overpowered. You just spam, then it's... If you don't know how to deal with an SKR, they are difficult to deal with, but once you know what to shoot for, they're not that difficult. A quick tip, shoot below their turrets, like just below the turrets, top of the hull, you'll detonate them that way. If you otherwise can't do that, just shoot high explosive near the bridge, that'll take out the frontal rocket launchers on the SKRs. And just pepper them. And full speed ahead. The MPK is going to be somewhere around C, which is good for us because that is the other side of the map. But ideally I'd want to artillery it as soon as I know where it is. A bit too far out for 50 gals. In the long run they are. They do have a very good top tier coastal lineup. They are not the most fun to grind through in my opinion, although they do have some fun boats at the mid-tier. The barges can be kind of funny, but their low top speed makes them a bit meh. I wouldn't really call them that anymore. Although they do have some subjects that are incredibly tanky for their BR. Stuff like M17. Yeah, exactly. They're fun boats. If you can already, you know, have fun with coastal to begin with. But they're not particularly good boats. They do have some really good torpedo early boats though, with automatic 37s. There's an AI that I'm struggling with. That is a bit more dangerous. No, it isn't. I think I see the MPK right behind him. It is indeed him. Mark him on the map. Arty strike, lead it a bit. He is not going that way. I will miss that arty strike. That is automatic 37s. That's not nice. Go torpedo, but we can't. Not in time. So we can try and bomb it or torpedo it, which I'm tempted to do. Although let's just try another PT6 spawn. We'll go the other spawn point because then we'll get behind him, kind of. And we'll see from there. There he is again. Mark. He's there. We can arty that. Assuming he'll go deeper into B. That's going to be the player PT6 we saw on the kill feed earlier. If we can finish him off. There we go. And I'll assume the arty strike just missed. Is that a player? Probably not. I think it was the one I was shooting at earlier. Reloading both the guns. We'll just go bow in. Those 20 mils hurt, and they hurt a lot. I also lost my bridge, which doesn't help. And I can't repair it by the looks of it. Which is even more annoying. Go.
Most of the zones are under enemy's control.
The MPK is still afloat, or is it sunk? There it is. Being down a bridge and not being able to repair it is a little bit annoying, but we'll deal with it. Don't quite have the range actually to hit him. Max of 2 kilometers. And MPK is just cleaning a house because we just do not have the firepower to deal with it. So 12-second reload is really rough for a reserve boat. For guns that really don't do that much damage either. These are fairly big belts.
The enemy is controlling most of the zones.
And game's over already. Tickets really bleed a bit too fast for coastal matches, don't they? But that's already the first camo done. Somehow. Did I really do that much damage? Is that where I see it? Where do I see it? I did. Well, at least this will be relatively quick. You know what? Let's go for a match with the German one. Yeah, that's also one I haven't played since the camos. Oh, for the later ones especially, I don't know. And you have to remember that for each point of damage you do is actually 2 points towards the camo. Have they added new ones? I'm not sure. Oh, look, the same map again. It's possible they've added new ones. That's... I think this way onto P is a bit too exposed, isn't it? I think my idea of just going to this triangle to A is still the better idea. Because all the other routes seem a little bit exposed to enemy spawns. Only 2 people either side, but we are getting quick queues at least. Even if they aren't all that populated. That is some decorator I got from an event, I think from Operation Winter. It's always free to put large decorators on small vehicles and boats especially. Some kind of snowmobile or snow vehicle. I need to check out what it's called. I think it has a proper name in the if you look at the decorators.
Identifiziert. Boot.
Nope. Make sure not to overheat the gun. Ouch. Oh, that's why I'm taking so much damage. That was not on purpose. But there's a torpedo on the way. And he seems to be going dead straight. Let's try the other spawn and just going to be. It is just about in range of this 15 mil. But if I'll hit it with a 15 mil at this range is a different question. These really aren't as easy to play as I remember them being. Yeah, little black tank.
Ziel zerstört! Wirkungstreffer!
Oh, that's a player G5. And I am not doing too well. There goes my gun. I'd like to have that back, thank you very much. And there we go. Once again. I'm just redoing some 1.0s, because I haven't in a while. And quietly getting my ass handed to me. And by all the reserve players.
Allied forces have captured a zone.
Ziel identifiziert. Boot. Rudergänger, Fahrt, Steuerbord. Ziel identifiziert. Boot.
Alrighty.
Ruder, Backbord.
We're winning.
Ruder, Fahrt, Backbord. Ruder, Mittsschiff.
That depends on what you're wanting to do. Because I don't really play a lot of naval outside of trying to spade stuff or grind stuff with boats. And then I do have the tendency to try and spade or unlock stuff with the worst boat first and then getting to the better stuff. But it all depends on personal preference. It also doesn't help that I am facing opponents that are notoriously tough to deal with in these kind of boats. Do we not have a... Oh well. Let's see what I can do with this, and look at how fast the tickets are already bleeding. I'm not entirely sure. I haven't used any myself. This is the thing I should get napalm. I'll check out if any of my other bombers have napalm, then I'll use them, or try and use them. I don't think they're that good against boats, but I'll try and use them. You know what? I will not go for the actual AA platform that you have in the enemy team. Let's see if we can deal with a G5 if it's still around.
The enemy is winning.
Also, I've put a way too long of a fuse on this plane. I'm incredibly tempted to bomb the big thing.
Forces have captured a zone.
Let's try it. Wing over, there we go. Aim in front, drop the bomb, there we go. Ah. A bit too far in front. But over a 500 kilo bomb, you'd think it'd do a little bit more damage than that. But this game is over again. And seeing as I don't have any boat spawns anymore, it is me done as well. That is kind of the problem if you do get these small matches. If you don't have any boats to deal with their big boats, you're screwed. You've already lost. What BR is this Doe 335? I think it'd be too high to really use against PT boats. Yeah, 4-3, that's a lot of destroyers at that point.
If we don't do something fast, the enemy will win.
I also need to double check if my reserves actually have all their upgrades mounted.
The enemy is
a thing to do.
Withdraw.
Oh yeah, it wouldn't be against DDs. Alrighty. There we go. I've got everything I need to unlock. There we go. What are the magazines? AP for 20 mil, that's fine. Is it? No, that is not the HE shells. Those are the HE shells. It's a bit weird that all the belts are called the exact same thing when they aren't the exact same thing, but okay. And for the next battle, let's just preemptively equip this thing with the napalm bomb, although it only has a 500 one at least. There we go. And let's try that again. With hopefully better results. I am getting really quick matchmaking though for 1.0, which it didn't used to always be the case. Three-person match. Oh, well, that's 3 into the B point, I guess. Also, I'll take more belts. That is the AP belt. Yep. And I forgot to check what that thing is named. And there's Phoenix. Maybe a preemptive arty strike would be interesting. Although I think that's way too far back. And actually was kind of... Whoa, boy. Oh boy, PDF 7. Launch a torpedo and get the hell out before it gets to 40 on target. Oh, actually, that arty strike was really well timed. There we go. As a player, PT6. Kinda want to try and hit his magazine, but I think that's a very stupid idea. It is a very stupid idea. There goes the thing again. If he's going to continue charging straight at me, he'll use a torpedo. He won't, because the torpedo is just off course by a lot. We'll just shoot his turrets in return. There we go. And now to decap B. Really lucky I actually managed to get a decent amount of damage done with my artillery on that PTF-7. Because that is a very, well, literally nasty boat to run into. There's that BT-6 again. Try and shoot the turrets, try and shoot the guns. He shot mine. And there I go. He got close enough where he could actually start overpunning me. shall we try the napalm out? I think we will.
Alle Mann von Bord!
Although I highly doubt it'll be of any use. Personally, to actually try and hit something with it though. Oh. Oh no. Oop. I think we're fine. We're fine. That BT6 is moving a bit too much for my liking, although it would be a really nice target to try and go for. This is a horrible diving angle, but you might as well try. And bomb away. And immediately got pilot snapped by an AI. Did my bomb hit him? I don't know. There's a G5.
Gefechtsstationen! Feind gesichtet! Das Feuer liegt deckend!
I would love if those shells actually connected. Yeah, I have no clue if the napalm actually did anything.
Gefährliche Unschießen voraus! Bruder, Backbord! Jawohl, Backbordsteuer! Wir wurden beschädigt!
A little more effort and victory will be ours.
The BT6 went to A, by the looks of it.
Somebody attack him.
Nope, that is the guy that was in the BT6 that bombed. Phoenix got him.
Gegner getroffen! Feuer auf feindlichen Schiff gesichtet! Maschine, ein Drittel Fahrt voraus! Granaten liegen im Ziel! Ziel vernichtet!
I need to learn to have a bit more trigger discipline with this thing, because when it overheats, it just becomes incredibly inaccurate.
Strategic zones are captured.
Bruder, Mitschiff! Wir wurden beschädigt! Maschinen, stopp! Jawohl, Bruder, Mitschiff!
We're controlling most of the zones.
Feind getroffen! Bruder, Steuerbord! Jawohl, Steuerbord, Steuer!
Against battleships, what napalm would do against big ships, or against blue water ships, is burn their entire deck. So it would like knock out all of their anti-air emplacements and all of the, well, anything that wasn't a full turret would just get burned out. And it did some crew damage, but if you just didn't repair it, wouldn't do anything else. It was a really easy way to just suppress an entire ship's anti-air though, by just dropping a single napalm bomb on it.
Keep it up and victory will be ours.
Oh boy.
Schüsse liegen im
That's that guy again. And he immediately hits the turret and the bridge. Then again, it's not too hard to hit both at once.
Wirkungstreffer!
There goes the turret again.
2000 Meter!
That is not how smoke works, but okay.
Volltreffer! Ziel getroffen! Objekt direkt voraus! Los!
go.
Feind vernichtet! Ziel getroffen! Bruder, Tag, Backbord!
At least that guy actually knows what he's doing. At least somewhat.
Sichern! Wegtreten von Station!
Yeah, these reserve PT boats are a whole lot less beginner-friendly than I remember them being. And there we go, 2 camos unlocked for LS3. Also let me at the same time check out what the thing is. A snowmobile NKL 1641. And camos are, of course, the unicolor, which is just a darker grey. And bicolor? Bicolor is pretty neat. So we'll link the camouflages. Okay. And there we go. Now to do the same for all the reserves, I guess. Actually, let's do the British one next. Because I know this thing is pain and suffering incarnate. So why not? That is something I've noticed with some other PT boats, the reserve ones. So this can carry depth charges and torpedoes, but the American one... Oh, can also do it. Okay, that explains I still have to buy it. For some reason their stock loadouts didn't have both. Which I found to be a bit weird. Anyways, British Reserve. Time to suffer. I mean, yeah, it's... At least the lucky thing is that you don't have to be stuck with just reserves for too long. Hello, chicken. I'm doing fine. I'm replaying reserves just to, because I'm a bit bored. Well, as I just said, I'm a bit bored, so I thought, why not do the reserves and grind their camos? On the other hand, I've just been playing a lot of 6.0s, 5.7, 6.3. I've also been playing quite a few... I've been playing a lot of Blue Water recently, and I wasn't in the mood to play high tier coastals. So low tier it is. Now these are the coastal queues I'm more used to. Yeah, like... You know, also 2.3 coastal is already where it starts getting rough. Because then you can face reserve destroyers. I'm trying to think what the lowest BR frigate is. I think that's 3.3 as well. .3 is a reserve destroyer. So as soon as you get into 2.3 you can fight destroyers. Yeah, I don't think there's any frigate that's a lower BR than 3.3. The Groza might be, but I think that's a 3.3 as well, or even a 3.7. MTB, won't be get close with the MTB, so maybe fight around the 8 point. Actually, do want to get close? I probably do. Not much you can do with Lewis guns, is there? At range. Yeah, it is for a... Because that is 3.0, okay. So this is the lowest BR frigate you could see. I kind of feel like we're going to be seal clubbing, but at the same time we are playing a 1.0. So how bad could it possibly be? Our maximum range seems to be like 1.6 kilometers. The enemy boats will actually be coming from down there. So we need to be a bit more careful of the B point area. Nothing to see yet. There we go, PT6, that is an AI, that's an AI, that's also AI. So no big threats just yet.
Take him down.
Quite literally do not have the range yet to shoot at them. Oh, the Italian is getting close. There we go, now it's in range. And there goes a 16-second reload, or 15-second.
Allied forces have captured a zone.
Well, that's an eternity for a reserve. And there goes another 16-second reload.
Enemy forces have captured a zone.
Oh, damn. I was about to try and depth charge him.
Enemy forces have captured a zone.
That's an AI, okay. It's also still an AI. And we'll just slowly move on to the B point, I guess. Almost got him. Not quite. Squad mate finishes him off. And now I move to see what on earth is on the B point. That guy is, at least.
We are losing. Destroy the target.
I do not think that is not the direction of travel. Oh well. I may have screwed up. Yep. And there's also another PT6 on the B point. Damn, that's rough. Let's see what happens at the sea point, I guess. And then we'll spawn the ML100 as the last spawn, I think. To actually get something other than Lewis guns. That's disappointing to see.
Action station. Enemy spotted. Enemy hit.
That's an automatic 37, so I'm going to be toast, and I know it. And there goes... Oop, I did actually manage to take him down with me. Well, take him down before he got me. But there's another one somewhere.
Take him down.
Right there. Really low health, so as soon as I reload I can get him. If I can actually get to him. Never mind. Somebody else got to him.
Damage control to repair party. Pump out flooded compartment.
We need to put more pressure on the enemy. They're winning.
Repair party. Begin damage control.
There's a D3 in front. He's outside of gun range, but I am not outside of his gun range, I believe. Oh, there's Russian 14.5s.
Dangerous shallows ahead.
However, I think he's in RT range. That's its direction of travel, I think. Of course, he's now going to start reversing / just stationary.
Body attack him.
Yep, so that artillery strike is gonna miss. We'll try and get into cover because I cannot win a gun duel with that thing at range. Probably couldn't win one at short range either, but you know what I mean. And we'll just try and get into C point before it can shoot me. I'm going to force to reload because I'm very low on ammo. And just on the C point in the nick of time. And now we just sit here and cap it.
All astern. Target identified. First. There. 8-0. 500 meters. Correct hit.
The Russian boat is somewhere behind that wreck. Which should be relatively safe. What is that shooting at me? An AIPT-6 from outside of my gun range. Only just.
Take him down.
Oh boy, an MPK.
Most of the zone.
I don't have my artillery up at the moment. 10 seconds, 16 seconds. But then again, it's 4 Lewis guns.
Shells on target. Collision alert. We are down. Force all.
Somebody attack him.
That is direction of travel, most likely.
Port your helm.
Yeah. It's a quad Lewis gun mount. Looks very goofy.
Enemy hit.
Let's hope my arty does something. Nope, he was much faster than I thought he would be.
Enemy forces have captured a zone.
We shoot the gun, we shoot the gun. We shoot the 37, or we try to shoot the 37. There we go.
Starboard your helm.
Torpedo on the way, just in case, and we'll drop some depth charges on him. That should do the trick. And that is why you carry depth charges on faster torpedo boats. But we will not be getting to the B point in time to actually turn this into a victory. Luckily, winning or losing does not matter if you're just trying to grind camos.
They're winning.
A 16-second reload on the reserve coastal is really rough though. Especially for the amount of damage potential you have. Let's just use that camo already. Oh, the tricolor one is actually pretty neat for coastals. But I think to change things up again, we'll go G5 next. And we'll just start another match. And got a much quicker queue this time. Green Mountain's Gulf with a G5, I'm definitely going to go to B, because I'm just so much faster. I think the APRT belts are the better ones, so let's just take that. And motor on to B. Small match as usual. This is quite a big map though for a 1.0 boat. I see that this one can actually clip the gun through the front mast. That's useful. I think there's one boat that can't. I'm not sure which one it was. I think it's the that one's the rocket launcher up there, does it? I'm forgetting which one it is, but I think there's a G5 variant that can't put the gun through the front mast. It might be the premium one. There we have the players, S38, PTF7, that's scary, and the PT6. I mean, that is at least the one good thing about this BR, no destroyers. But at the same time, I'd rather be in a 1.7 than a 1.0. And the PTF7 got melted by the AIs by the looks of it.
Destroy the target. Roger that.
The PTF7 really is a very, very good boat for the... I think it's 1.7 boat as well. It's really good for that battle rating, just because it has a Bofors. The only thing you have to do though with that thing is just not go straight at an enemy, but sit like at the outskirts, broadside on. Now this should be an AI, and it is. Because you saw the 3 human players over at the sea point.
Боевая тревога.
I really wish my fire extinguisher was still automatic, but for some reason it isn't anymore. There we go.
Allied forces have captured a zone.
Право на борт.
Destroy the target.
Прямо руль.
Our
There's gonna be another one.
Есть поражение.
It does feel a bit... you should see how they handle in arcade then. Because then it just gets wild. There we go, another one down. The PDF-7 immediately left after being sunk, but of course. And now I'll just motor onto the sea point and see if I can help over there. Let's reload the belt, because with only 2 bullets left, it wouldn't have been much use.
Allied forces have captured a zone.
Лево руля. Цель. Катер.
There's a player S38, who has been sunk once, so that isn't a...
Him down.
How should I say? That is a fresh boat, not a first spawn. Keeping an eye out for aircraft, as you should always do.
Destroy the target.
The reload rate on this gun at least is pretty decent. Compared to the previous ones. Although it is a pretty small belt.
Victory will be ours.
And I cannot see where these tracers are going. There we go. Let's empty the belt out again.
Excellent.
Enemy pea shooter up, but with the amount of AO boats around. A Frank Knox at 50% off is definitely worth it.
Attack the enemy.
Okay.
Цель. Катер. Цель. Катер.
I'm thinking that yeah, 38 was on sea. Got sunk. That's a player PT6, so let's try and deal with that. It's really strange how this Russian 50 cal seems so much more effective than the PT6's 50 cal. Although I do need to replay the PT6 again just after this to compare it. This is actually a 50 cal, right?
Боевой
I need to check when I'm in the hangar.
Чаю на главный командный пост.
Yeah, that is a 50 cal. So now we'll do the American one again. Which I still need to get almost at a bicolor. Yeah, I never really get good coupons for battle trophies. Not that I really use them, ever. Don't buy that many premiums. Does it? What is the penetration of this 50 cal IP belt? Isn't that hold on. So with the APIT belt you get... No, the AP belt you get more penetration, 29. Oops. The G5 is 30, a little bit more, but at ranges of like 1 kilometer, that's 23. The American one is 15. Yeah, let's see what the American 50 cals are like again. It's no worries, Jorg. But I get the feeling that's why the G5's 50 cal feels so much nicer, is because it has a lot more pen. Didn't I just unlock the one where I can get both? Yes, there it is. Both depth charges and torpedoes. I'm always when I'm in a queue, I'm trying to see what I'm researching, but I keep forgetting I have nothing to research anymore for this BR. Other than the camos. Yeah, apparently they do. Do they? Yeah, high explosive incendiary. I'll experiment with the APIT belt this match. See if it does a bit more damage. That'll take a while. I do want to continue my coastal grind again, but it's just such a slog. I think I'm first gonna try and get the Scharnhorst as soon as possible before going to finish off my coastal trees. Green Mountains Gulf again. This time, because PG6 is quite a bit slower, I'll be fighting around the C point instead of the B point. And we'll try an APIT belt load and see if that does more damage or not.
All hands, man, paddle. Set position. Lock down all roller stations.
Big match, fighting an enemy squad. Which could be interesting. Yeah, like rank 4 coastal is where it really starts getting painful. Because rank 4 is like around the BR for coastal, where you start fighting a lot of destroyers, but your own boats are not yet capable of fighting destroyers. And you also have incredibly expensive research costs. Type 5, that could be interesting. Who knows what it's doing? That needs to die. It's outside of artillery range though. Only just. Let's try there and see what happens. Player PT6. Oh, that does some work. And then again, it was a full broadside PT6. I need to shoot his front. There goes the artillery strike on a completely unintended target. I need to auto repair or auto extinguish again. Okay, belts are out. Can I retreat safely? I have the Type 5 to finish him off for me, that's lovely. With fire extinguishing on automatic again. And wait to reload.
Enemy forces have captured a zone.
Target identified.
Shoot the guy's bow if I can.
Engine all stop.
I did miss that guy on my arty strike, sadly. Get back into cover to reload.
The enemy is winning.
There's our AI. The thing in the back isn't AI though. And it's outside of my gun range. But I am well inside of its 37. And 20s. You boy. That guy really needs to be sunk.
Somebody attack him.
I need to get out of this dodge of that 37 by going over here. If I can get a lock on that MPK again, it would be lovely, because my artillery is back up. There it is. Artillery strike it there. That's going to be a very dangerous close strike, but I am willing to risk it. I think that'll be a decent strike. He needs to sink, and fast. Did he run himself aground? Damn.
All hands, abandon ship.
Kinda wish I had a rocket strike plane for the Americans instead of bombers.
All hands, abandon ship.
MPK got sunk by Phoenix. That's always lovely.
Make position one. Right, standard cutter.
Also, sorry for not really looking at the chat too much, but yeah, 40mm bovers have always been somewhat capable of destroying DDs, but just not as fast as you really would like them to be. Oh, come on, can I not shoot through that at all? There we go, hitting a bit, hitting a few. And that's all I need to do. Hit a few. The R130 is going to be a bit of a big problem though, because it is genuinely out of range on my machine guns. Where is it exactly?
Destroy the target. Take
It is inside of artillery range, and I think it's stationary there. And if it isn't, well, yeah, no, it's stationary there. So that might be just another strike for the artillery. The APIT seems to be really working though, these APIT belts.
Allied forces have captured a zone.
R130 has moved, sadly. Some artillery missed. Also, I only had 2 bullets left, 1 in each gun, so that is going to be awful reload timing. Although, I might actually reload in time before that R130 comes around the corner. There we go, well on time.
The victory is near.
Yeah, that's a really fun German boat, the thing I'm currently shooting. Because it has an automatic 37 on the back, and that's a real menace of a coastal gun. But I do need to kill it before it can repair that gun. There we go. Let's reset the belts again.
Somebody attack him.
Oh. Oh, that's not good. We shoot the 37 to try and take it out, but never mind, he's been torpedoed. Because that's what happens when you bring a large boat just stationary into a capture point. In front of a torpedo boat.
Capture the zone.
There's several aircraft up. That doesn't have any ordnance, so it isn't too dangerous. That does have ordnance. Let's reload the belts. And start backing up as well, not to get into line of sight of the PT-6 shooting from their spawn. Ouch! Those cannons do kind of hurt. But he flew into my mast and ripped his own wing off. Eee boy. Well, what shall we do then? Could try and torpedo something, but I don't think I'll ever hit a torpedo against coastal vessels, so let's take a fighter with some bombs, shall we? Let's put that to 1.5 seconds.
Abandoned ship.
And let the tracers, sure. There are 3 coastal vessels moving onto the A point, oh boy. One north and one south. And there's more coming after them as well. We'll deal with that one. But there is another one coming over there. That's a PT-6, I think. Just going full speed. Oh, no, let's do one bomb at a time. Let's conserve some ordnance. Also, if those are AI boats, I'm going to be very much in danger of losing my plane immediately. There we go. And I was indeed in very serious danger of losing my plane immediately. And those 100-pound bombs did nothing, even though they were pretty close hits. I think I have done enough damage to get the camo for PT-6, so let's try and play PT-3 instead. And take the APRT belts.
Ocean, make condition 1. Right, standard cover.
Didn't realize this boat was even slower than PT-6 though. It also has worse gun angles than the PT-6. Yeah, this match is lost. It is outside of gun range, if only just.
The enemy has captured most of the strategic zones.
I am not sure I'll make it to the B point before the tickets will bleed out. But we can try. Weird spot for an AI to be stuck. Also love getting pushed aside by AIs, even though they should have programmed that doesn't let them do that. God damn it. That AI is outside of gun range, so is a G5. Don't have any more player ships around C to try and cap that either. Now there's an artist strike on B. And a player just sunk our last AI over at C, so they're going to capture C at some point as well. But yeah. And I think what I might do after this battle is jump up and BR to 1.7 and actually have some fun boats. Not really. If you're talking about like the Type K3 and 7 to use them against aircraft manually, nah. Just better to just have the 25s deal with the aircraft.
The enemy controls most of the strategic zones.
The Hatsahara, I'm not sure. I used to be, I kind of like the effect that HTF has on those 40 mils because it's just lots and lots of flak bursts. But at the same time, you might actually be better off with just HE belts, especially on low-level crews. I think on higher level crews, the flak might scare people off. Also, that's a G5 torpedo I'm about to run into. But not... Oh, come on, come on. I've dodged that one, but apparently I didn't. Just drifted into it. Yeah, let's try a 1.7 lineup after this match and have some actual fun. Trying to think which nation's 1.7 lineup I should play first. And there we go, game over. And I think with Japan's 1.7 lineup is really fun. But yeah, there we go, camo on the PT6. So we could do either the American 1.7s. You know what, let me just make the lineups. Japan has a fun 1.7 lineup, yeah, the Type 5's 1.7. So is this thing. Type T38 is also a good one. But I think I'll actually play the American one first because I haven't played these boats in ages. I have played a PT20 fairly recently, but the PTF7 and the PT103 could do with another battle. So let's do just that. Should actually change my aircraft out as well, shouldn't I? There is no submarine in the PC version. And if you're talking about a G5, I already have. It's a good boat. A really good boat. But let's see what I can do with a Beaufort at 1.7. Actually, no, let's switch those 20 mils back to universal. There was a submarine event last November, but it was only a temporary event. I wish I could play more of those though. Those were fun. And after this battle, I'll play a Japanese 1.7. Actually, I still have to play the Japanese 1.0 this stream. So I could do a 1.01. Release the full might of the 1.0 Sokote. And also to get back on the submarine thing, I have actually played them on stream as well when they were a thing, and they were really fun. That submarine event. And now we just wait for the queue again. It's been a bit hit or miss with these coastal matches. You'd think of all the updates to 1.7 I've been getting playing the 1.0s, getting a battle with 1.7s wouldn't be that difficult. But apparently this snail thinks otherwise. Trying to think if there's anything else I can really talk about. There's nothing really major coming, although we are still waiting on our naval event sometime this summer. And there we go, our match found. And Coral Islands on a game mode you don't see very often. This should be a decent map for PTF7 if I can like stay around here and shoot on the B. Or going over here and shoot... You know what? No. Going over here and shooting at A would be better. Because their spawn doesn't really have the best way to interdict it. No, I'm not talking about that kind of event. I'm talking the... you know, like the Churchill Aviary event. An event where we'll get a new boat. Haven't seen that one yet, Jorg. Haven't seen that one myself yet.
Right, standard rudder. Engines 2/3. Target identified. Code.
Bit far out there. Yeah, I haven't had that happen, York. That sounds a bit annoying.
Make condition 1. Engine, hold stop.
I do not like the thing that's never going to happen. We're never going to get the first of something as an event vehicle, because there's many balancing issues with that. Just like fair, it just isn't fair if you give one nation a submarine and nobody else. Although I do wish they would add submarines sooner rather than later.
Enemy forces have captured a zone.
Target identified.
Oh, I'll let that G5 just slip in. Oh, it is just me and Phoenix, and we're both on the same flank. That is not going to end well. Because somebody needs to cap.
Target identified. Code.
The enemy's getting closer to victory.
Right, hard rudder.
Not really, because the thing is, sure, Russia has the Bravi, but that is just an anti-air platform. And those missiles can be used against surface vessels to a limited extent, but they're not main weapon against surface vessels. While submarines would be entirely different gameplay, unique to, like, you could say anti-air missiles are. The thing is, they're not unique to Russia. There are 3 other vessels now with anti-air missiles. You have the Douglas US Premium, you have the Seata, the top-tier Italian coastal, which is TAC 3, and one of the first, actually the first, to have anti-ship missiles in-game, anti-air missiles on a boat in-game. And now you have the new bird now with next to useless Strellas. Also, I'm going to make it so I can fire the 20s, but I can't with that option. Because those are the tertiaries, not they are the secondaries. You can, you should be able to. In a test drive you certainly can. I'll try out the burnout again and show you how it works. But it's really crappy.
Hold stop. Enemy hit. Enemy destroyed. Both left over.
I mean, it does model the engines of ships, but I don't know about heat. I don't know if they really model the heat on engines other than planes. And I also somehow doubt that ship engines would produce as much heat as plane engines. Although, don't quote me on that.
Left standard rudder.
Yeah, it's for capabilities like this what I'm doing to that boat. Why the Bofors is the gold standard when it comes to naval guns. It is just incredibly good long-range firepower.
Right, standard rudder.
think Phoenix is already on the move to capture the C point. There goes my 40. I'm taking quite a lot more damage than I'd like to. I do get the feeling that they have upped the capabilities of AI boats. Like they will hit you and they will actually severely damage you if you're not careful. There we go. Yeah, let me try out the bird now again. And we got a camo for the PDF-7. So bird now, that's the German tree. There it is. There's a plane. I do kind of dislike that there's no info on what the missile actually is. Yep, there we go. 2 kilometers. 1.5. And around about here it gets lock, you lead, you fire. And missile goes kablooey. So they work. The funniest thing though is that so 1.2 kilometers lock-on range. And let's see if I can get my own gunnery up to scratch. And I need to lead way more. There we go. You technically do outrange the gun, outrange the missile with your guns, if you can actually aim, unlike me. The annoying bit though is that you can't switch off the seeker at all. Until you fire the missile, you cannot turn it off. But yeah, they should still work. I am still really annoyed that it doesn't actually tell you exactly what the missile is and its stats. But I do know that it's not any of the ground-based trellis we have in game. I was going to play Japan 1.7. No, I was going to play Japan 1.0 and showcase the might of the Sokote, that's right. I think it is an impact fuse missile, yeah. But still, stuff like G-pull and range and lock-on range, stuff like that, you can't really know. So let's do 1.0 Japan. And have fun with the Sokote. You would get a better result looking onto a jet with the bird now, but the bird now will never face jets. Unless you bring it up to 7.0 and then are lucky enough to actually face a jet. There's a missile sheet? There is a missile sheet. Ayo, Drowned City. A very rare map. And might actually be a good map for the Sokote. Also, it is funny you say might of the IGN, but the Sokote is actually an army boat, not a navy boat. I've seen this map quite often. I've also made a thumbnail for this stream on this map. Yes, they did. I think it was part of my cursed carrier segments when I did the carrier video years ago. You know, the Japanese army did indeed have an aircraft carrier. That might be a good idea, actually, Phoenix. Let me just... There you go. Pull. I'm absolutely zooming in my Sokote. This thing doesn't get any AP shots for the 37. But the second Sokote, the one at the higher BR, does get heat shells, so that would be pretty fun against LBTs. It has a 57mm howitzer and 7.7 instead of the 6.5s, yeah. Two dual 7.7s. Well, this thing gets the single 6.5mm machine guns and a 37mm anti-tank gun. Where is the thing that was capturing aim? Oh, there it is. Oh boy! Oh. Oh no. That was that was rude. Incredibly rude. Anyways, on to action. Oh. I'm somehow surprised it managed to torpedo me and not Phoenix in front. Oh well. Indeed, another glorious battle fought in the Sokote. He's gonna preemptively artillery Charlie, because why not? Yeah, I've now rediscovered that playing 1.0 is really rough. Because you get a lot of uptiers to 1.7, and 1.7 boats can be really, really darn dangerous. I do love my 30 round 13mm machine gun. Please do some damage to him. There we go. That's a building. .40mm Bofors is indeed very scary. Although a 20mm, any 20mm is pretty scary in boats as well if you get really close. And the sad part is we don't have any really fast boats other than me at the moment, so we're just gonna bleed out on tickets. By the way, the match is barely 5 minutes old, and it's already over due to ticket bleed. I still think that ticket bleed in coastal matches is way too quick. They could really do with slowing that down. I think the game's gonna be over by the time I actually capture this point. Yeah, game's gonna be over before I capture this point. Well, that was a very disappointing match, really. I died to a torpedo and then got to a point and the game was over before I capped it. So how long actually was the match? Can we see in the replays? Not really. 6.5 minutes. Lovely. So now let's go to 1-7, which I do have a pre-made lineup for apparently. And have some fun instead. This is, by the way, my favorite Japanese lineup for this BR. Well, it's the only lineup, really. You used to have... I think this thing used to be 1-7 as well, and it was really fun because you could use it for event grinding. Or is it 1.3 before? Don't remember. But this is still a really fun lineup as well. .7 has a lot of really good lineups, actually. I think that's why it's so popular. When trying to play 1.0s at least. Yeah, it is somewhat of a dubious working environment, that's for sure. Ooh, you might be actually. Although at the same time you could just spawn in the Peacock, deal with any coasters and then spawn 4.0 destroyers. Because for event grinding, it doesn't matter in what vehicle you earn the points with, it just takes into account the highest spawned like rank of vehicle. Anyways, let's spawn the propeller boat first. And go to A. Also, you'd think with 2 aircraft engines strapped to it, this thing would actually be pretty fast, but it's not that fast. Actually, it is 70. But considering the G5 almost goes 100. There's Phoenix again. Is it only 4.0? That's 4.0 frigates, doesn't it? And you have... Ah, but you have the G-class at 4.0, don't you? For destroyers. Although you also have the... Oh, what are they called again? The Hunts at 4.0, I think. Or it is 4.3 now. I think they were 4.0. Last I checked. Yeah, the Hunt class destroyers, the G class. And, I mean, never underestimate HMS Vega. The British Reserve Destroyer is really good. If you want to do some low tier seal clubbing. I mean, the depth charges can be used against submarines, but they can be used against surface vessels as well. And we had an example of that earlier this stream. They are just bombs with a depth time, really, or depth setting. Also, I'm just sailing straight into an artillery strike, am I? Let's see how quickly we can end this match by just sailing straight to the sea point when it unlocks. And also, by the way, we have had depth charges in War Thunder Naval since the beginning of it, which, in case you've forgotten when Naval started, that was 2016. So we've had depth charges in the game for 8 years. with no submarines to use them on.
We're ahead of the enemy.
I am reloading my 20mm faster than I'm expending the ammo on the cap. Hold on, that is extremely busted. I can just infinitely fire my 20mm on the cap because I reload the clip faster than I'm expending it. There's another boat that can do this, by the way, just infinitely fire on a cap. And that's the SF-40, which is really damn busted. If you can get an SF-40 light, the one of the 4 quadruple 20mm on a capture point, you can infinitely fire those 20s with 0 reload. Which is funny, incredibly funny. But I didn't know you could do the same with this thing. Look, I'm reloading the ammo before it actually... That's a good point. I think it might. Because this started happening when they introduced... I don't know if you remember. I don't remember which patch it was. It was like a patch or two ago, an update two ago. Where ground SPA could like partially reload their belts. To make it so you don't have to like empty their entire belt before starting a reload. Yeah, ever since they introduced that... Naval has been a bit funny. As long as you can get onto a cap. You'd think so, but you also have to think that for those 8 years, we've had Battleship for 4. So over those... Oh god, this is kind of depressing. So since the introduction of battleships, we've had the Hyuga, the 14-inch battleship, literally the update after battleships were introduced, and only like 2 updates ago or 3 updates ago, we've gotten our first 16-inch battleship. So that is something you better not think about too much. Ram really does fly. Oh boy, PTF. Let's focus on what's in front, shall we? Although again, it's a PTF-7 not using his 40mm. Why are you not using the most potent weapon in your arsenal? Also, another funny thing about this boat, oh, well, never mind. There's usually a guard railing here, so that 20mm couldn't, you know, just shoot the guy on the bridge in the dome. But it'll just clip through that guardrail. I mean, you say that, but yeah. I will also agree that they've introduced top-tier ships incredibly slowly. But I do think they have a pretty good reason for it. But they have recently fixed one of the biggest issues with like trying to expand top-tier naval, and that is the fact that you crawl into really scary aircraft territory for the kind of ships you want to add. But now with the possibility of having split battle ratings depending on the game mode for aircraft, there's really no excuse for them to add ships beyond 7.0.
Just a little more effort, and victory will surely be ours.
20mm goes bird. I don't think it's that. I generally think it's because they do not want to get into like really scary jets for top tier naval. Because I don't know if you are playing 7.0 and you've faced Arados, but those are already a pain to deal with. But I am also firmly of the opinion that they add battleships at an incredibly slow rate. Like just to, I'm working on the video for the most recent update, but very much slow. We've got one capital ship this update, and it was an other World War I capital ship. Although it is a pretty good one, the Queen Mary. I do have to get it though, at some point. Carriers are a bit of a... I don't know how many of you currently watching the stream have seen my video on carriers that I made back in the day. Although it is a bit of an older video, so it's not best quality I've ever made, but nah. Carriers are a real difficult thing compared to submarines. Submarines are relatively simple compared to carriers, but carriers are really difficult. Don't compare it to World of Warships, because World of Warships is not a carrier. You're playing aircraft squadrons, you're not playing a carrier at all. Like, my view on what an aircraft carrier should be for War Thunder is just you're launching AI aircraft waves, where you might be able to manually control one of them, like you can control one of the float planes on ships. That's also the whole reason I don't know how many of you remember that, but do you remember when we first saw launchable float planes? And, like, the kind of conversation that sparked? Because we got our float planes officially in update Winged Lines together with Scharnhorst, which... that's a while ago now, jeez. But before that, there was this bug on the dev server where the Graf Spee could launch a catapult plane, and only the Graf Spee could do that. And the amount of people that said that that was a sign that carriers were coming was insane back then. And that was also one of the sparks why I made the "What if we had carriers in War Thunder" video. Because a lot of people want carriers, me included. But they're definitely something a bit more difficult to deal with than submarines, I'd say. But I would love to see carriers myself as well. Also, to get back to an earlier comment I saw, a lot of ships can't deal with jets. Because the thing about anti-aircraft guns currently, and for the foreseeable future on all ships, is aircraft gunners cannot accurately lead aircraft beyond 5 kilometers. So the faster planes get, and the faster they can get to altitude, and the faster they just fly in general, the further and further away from a ship they can drop their ordnance. Of course, they do have to be accurate for that, but it isn't too difficult if you're trying to bomb a slow battleship. But if you were to get to the faster jets, all they would have to do is just climb to 5 kilometers and they'd be impervious to anti-aircraft fire. And they wouldn't probably even have to do that, because it's a bubble and they don't drop from directly above. Jets, it just gets messy. Jets get messy with how AA works. The thing is, I genuinely believe that mechanically speaking, like making the mechanics of how a carrier works is not difficult. I think that is really easy. The problem would be in balancing them and how they'd like actually work in a match. A thing I brought up in the carrier video I did a few years ago is let's say you take a light carrier, like you say, a small carrier, which has, let's say, 25-30 aircraft. 30 aircraft might actually be... 30 aircraft is about right for a light carrier, 30 aircraft. you would only need 4 carrier players to already have over 100 aircraft in the air. Potentially. And that is... Boy oh boy, I don't think the servers would like that. Like, I think that is one of the bigger problems with adding carriers, is just the server load for the number of aircraft. Then, of course, the fact that you spawn really close together, so how would you... I have an entire video on it, it's like 40 minutes, 45 minutes long, I think. If you want to see my views on what carriers are like, it's still pretty accurate to the video. Although, again, it is one of my older videos, so it isn't too good quality-wise. But you get into a whole lot of very interesting what ifs and what about this and what about that's about aircraft carriers.
Allied forces have captured a zone.
Oh, can it? I think there are other raiders that can do this as well, but I'm not entirely sure. Didn't really play a lot of raider aircraft against ships. It's just a P-61. Interesting. Again, I'm fully convinced that, like, mechanics-wise, a carrier would not be that difficult for Gaijin to add. It is just, like, balancing-wise and how they would properly fit into normal matches that would be very difficult to argue for. Like, get them right. But I make some examples like that during that video. I don't know off the top of my head, but I should try and find it again. But there's 2 arguments I remember from that video that I think are kind of interesting. Like, let's say you take a very early carrier, something like the... what is it called again? The first Japanese carrier. Which, when I looked it up back then, had like 18 aircraft total, and they were really shitty biplanes. Hosho, that's the one, thank you. So let's say you take the Hosho, which has 4 140mm guns, by the way, like the same 140s you see in the Kuma and Sendai. It has 2 of those on either side of the ship, right? What battle rating would you give that ship? Which has 18 biplanes, 9 torpedo bombers, 9 fighters. What battle rating would you give it? Also assuming that in realistic battles, when you lose an aircraft, you've lost the aircraft permanently. Unless you get to like a cap and reload them, I guess. Because let's say an aircraft carrier is obviously a blue water vessel, right? And the current minimum battle rating for a blue water vessel is 3.3. The armor, like deck armor, like gun armament wise, that carrier is a 4.3, I'd say. Like just purely gun based armament. So let's say we put it at 4.3. Okay, let's put it at 4.3 to be generous to it. What would stop somebody from spawning a 4.3 aircraft, like let's say a Hellcat, and wiping out all 18 of the biplanes that the Hosho can launch?
Allied forces have captured a zone.
Like just that thought alone. Like how would that work? Like you'd have to totally revamp the way air spawns would work in naval then, I guess. But then how would you do that? One way you could do it is that you don't have air spawns unless there's a carrier, maybe. But then that's a bit boring for like coastals, isn't it? Because you would never have a carrier at a coastal match, would you? Yep, that as well. Like those. So then the question is, would you just never add a Hosho because it just doesn't have aircraft really capable? Oh yeah, definitely. Carriers would be an incredibly. I'm not sure if they would be busted. They probably would be kind of busted in EC. They would be very brain dead. Although at the same point, unlike World of Warships, a carrier has to be on the move to launch and recover aircraft. Like, you can't just sit still and expect aircraft to be able to take off with combat loads. Then the other example I could think of is you have, let's say you have two carriers, right? And you give them the same battle rating. It doesn't really matter what the battle rating is. But one of the carriers is HMS Illustrious during World War II. The other carrier is Kaga in the triple deck configuration. The Kaga carries a whole lot more aircraft, but they're worse because triple deck configurations are biplanes. Again, I have this entire, like, I have the numbers up in that video, but I don't remember them anymore. But the Kaga had something like 60 aircraft, I think, and a lot of them were strike aircraft, dive bombers and torpedo bombers. Whilst the Illustrious would carry less aircraft, but more and advanced fighters than the Kaga would. So I think it was something like, was it 16 fighters, a lot of them Seafires and a few Martlets? It's just, carriers get really, really strange to balance really quickly. But the best way would definitely be to just add, like, light and escort carriers. I think they'd be the least oppressive in the amount of aircraft they could possibly take into the sky. At least start with those kind of carriers.
The enemy's getting closer to victory.
Also about like the half carrier Furious, I don't think it was a really proper carrier at that point. Like being able to execute aircraft strikes. Well, with the way that their requirements are for adding ships, Shinano would probably be able to make it. If they would add it is another question, because Japan has a lot of aircraft carriers other than Shinano. And Shinano doesn't exactly carry, like, the aircraft load for Shinano is a bit more unknown. Also because it isn't really meant to be a strike carrier. The carriers we have in game now, do you mean the HD models? They're all fleet carriers though, they're too big. I think like they carry a lot of aircraft. You do not want jet carriers. Believe me, you do not want jet aircraft carriers at all. Not only a helicopter carrier. What does the Yak-38 carry again? Let me actually check. That's aviation, not army. Yak-38, where are you? Yeah. Yeah. Although those won't do much against battleships, but still. Those 500 kilo bombs would be interesting. You believe me, you do not want jet carriers. The Baku might be an exception, but still, no. But yeah, stuff like the Bogue and the Ryujo, escort carriers, World War II escort carriers, and light carriers. Those would be interesting. But no jet carriers. Let's do an Italian 1-7. Did I have fun 1-7s? Not really. Let's see if I have another fun lineup. That's a 2.0, is it? Do we have any other fun coastals to use? Really tempted, but I'd be starting a bit too high in BR, I think. You know, I think for the fun of it, why don't we actually try some of these sub-chasers again? Like the Brentford and Liscombe. Whilst just talking about carriers as we are at the moment. Does the Brentford not have another cruise that can go in? It does. They could, but remember the Tonnet does not carry strike aircraft. They're all scout aircraft. Genuinely, what they should have done if they wanted to test carriers is give us an EC in a battle carrier fit. You know, one of these two ships. Instead of their, let's take Hugo for example. Because during World War II, after the Battle of Midway, they removed the rear two turrets and just made it an aircraft hangar with catapults. And these actually carried strike aircraft as well. They should have given us one of those. But nope, we just got the pre-Midway EC instead of the funny battle carrier one. Missed opportunity. Anyways, I was going to play 2.3 Britain. Because why not? And we'll keep the swordfish just for the memes. But, you know, I genuinely think it's a missed opportunity that they did not add EC in the battle carrier form, but just the normal, just before Midway battleship form. Because even if they added the battle carrier form, they didn't necessarily have to give it like carrier capabilities. They could have just added it to be a cool, unique ship with funny rocket anti-air, but they will. Nope, no I don't. But yeah. One of the main reasons I also really want to see carriers is just for custom battles. The amount of stuff you could do in custom battles as soon as you get carriers, man. Also, I'm just thinking back again on the carrier video. There's some fleet carriers out there that are really scary. Oh yeah, the I-400. That's also an excellent possibility if they ever want to try out carriers. Although I don't quite know how long it takes to launch all 3 of its planes. Oh, there actually are a few German carriers. The Graf Zeppelin is most famous. But there are others that like started conversion or like prepare to be converted, so there are some. Although I'm not the greatest in my naval history, so I'm not too sure on the German carriers. I know Japan has a lot of light carriers, they could add at least. The other option, of course, is just limit how many aircraft a carrier can launch at a time, but that's just boring. Although I can see it happening. Yeah, I've made that mistake like 2 streams ago as well, where I called the Zeppelin the Spee, because I'm so used to seeing Graf Spee instead of Graf Zeppelin. And there we go, naval match. Yeah, like if we see carriers, we are definitely going to be seeing the Zeppelin. Definitely. I have no doubts about it.
Action station, man your post. Engine, nice speed. Hold your helm. Position below.
I don't think it had naval variants of an FW-190 though. No, it had 109s, it had Ju-87s, and it had Phi-187s or something. They're like biplane torpedo bombers, which we don't have in game. Yeah, but is that a carrier FW-190? Oh no. I am saying oh no because that is a tournament player. A good tournament player. On the topic of naval aircraft we do not have yet, where on Gold's Green Earth is like half of the fleet air arm for Britain. My Fulmars, my Barracudas, where are they? I'm forgetting the names of the other British, like, carrier planes, but I know there's quite a few that we do not have that really should have. Albacore.
Target identified. Approach. Bearing. 282. 3,000 meters.
Dispersion is not liking me too much in this engagement. But I mean, he's wiggling quite a bit. There we go, that was a solid hit. Yeah, I think there are quite a few German carriers that never really got completed, but did get underway far enough that I might see the game at some point. Oh, he's in an arrow, okay. That's not the biggest threat out there.
Allied forces have captured a zone.
I do feel a little sorry for what I'm about to do. Maybe I will.
The Allied forces have captured a zone. We're winning.
Quite enough lead. A little bit over. Too low. Over again. It's going to be too low again, because why wouldn't it be? Yeah, decent enough. Yeah. They did actually have a naval version of the FW-90. Also, whilst you're looking at German carrier aircraft, do look up the FI, like the FI. I think it's 187. It could be 167. But that's a funky torpedo bomber. Another thing I kind of wish they would implement is the ability to fold up the wings. Even though that would be entirely useless in War Thunder, it'd be incredibly cool though, for some cinematics. Yeah, I did to keep you a bit dirty there with this boat.
Let's keep the pressure on. Victory is close.
Can I hit this R boat at any point? There we go. I am entirely unsure. I don't really like doing predictions on top tier naval stuff because it's the pace that we're actually progressing in top tier naval is just too slow. There's no way to really project what we're going to get next. Because one patch you might be getting like this where we just get another, you know, 6.3 or 6.7 battleship. And then another update will get something that pushes top tier to 7.3. Who knows? Could have sworn there was some kind of biplane torpedo bombers with Fiedler as well. I don't think it was 156, but I don't remember what it is. I would love to see more of the late 15-inch and early 16-inch ships. It is a crime that we haven't gotten more 15-inch ships really, especially the later ones, like the Bismarck, the World War II fit of Warspite or Queen Elizabeth. The American 14-inch 50 is also really good. Although I'm not... Actually, what class is the Mississippi? Getting another one of those would be really fun. That's the one. Yeah, that's what I said. I thought it was a biplane. Yeah. It's a 167, that's the one. But that was indeed the one I'm thinking of. Or is it actually in New Mexico? Okay. And we really need to get in New Mexico. Okay, can I accelerate before his torpedoes hit me? I think Jean Bart might be a bit of a step up. But yeah, we really need to get into ships like that. Dunkirk is one that France really needs. Might actually give some people a reason to try and grind or top their ships so to get to Dunkirk. Or Dunkirk, like somebody, like some old man said. But yeah, just more ships like that, because... Actually, now I think of it, the British only have two 15-inch ships and one of them is an event vehicle. Then the Americans, currently their best standard class is technically also an event vehicle of the Mississippi. Japan has a lot of... Japan is a weird case because technically speaking we now have all but one of Japan's battleship classes. So they could possibly get one or two more classes. Also they wouldn't be that much better than a Nagato. Then I'm thinking... I mean, Germany needs to get a Bismarck at some point. And then they're almost out as well. It's a weird thing because some nations are actually almost out of battleships to add, whilst other nations have a lot more battleships to add. I mean, you do have to remember, Evan, that they introduced Hyuga, the first 14-inch battleship, back when all the other nations only had dreadnoughts and Italy didn't even have battleships. And that was also back when all battleships were 6.0. So you could legitimately face a Hyuga in an Omaha. Those were not fun days to be playing Omahas. Let me tell you that. So I wouldn't put it besides them to just add Yamato at some point without anybody else getting their iron ships.
Let's keep the pressure on. Victory is close.
Although I do hope they know better than that now. I'm not too entirely sure what the Italians can get battleship-wise. I think modern battleship-wise, yes, the Littorio, but I think they have quite a few more dreadnought types to add. Maybe? I'm really not too sure.
Allied forces have captured the zone.
No enemy in sight. Battle area clear. Mission completed.
Yeah, Italy is almost out of battleship. Germany realistically is almost out of battleships, unless you keep adding more World War I dreadnoughts. But the thing like Britain has a lot to add. America is kind of that weird one because they have a lot of individual battleships still left to add, but not a great variety really. I think. And I'm not too sure on American battleships. They have, so the New Mexico, they have Colorado, And that's it for the standards, for as far as I know. And then Lexington in battlecruiser form would be a cool one. And then you go to the fast battleships, of which you have 3 classes, unless I'm very much mistaken. And I'm not entirely sure what the difference is between the North Carolinas and the South Dakotas. Tennessee. What's Tennessee? Because I am drawing a blank on what the Tennessee exactly is. Yeah, is it a 16-inch standard? It is. It's a 14-inch standard, is it? Oh god, is for some reason I'm on a Dutch Wikipedia site and it just the gun calibers are just wrong. It's calling 14-inch guns 35 centimeters. It's calling 5-inch guns 12.5s. Yuck. But yeah, no, this Tennessee is another 14-inch standard. Where is it? I do really like the Mississippi. Those 14-inch 50s are really good guns. Atrocious reload, but really good guns. So the Americans have like... If you're going for like major differences, right? Really like very different ships, noticeably different. 3 or 4 more classes to go. So let's say you have the 3 classes of fast battleships. So that's 3 more battleships. And then if you add all the other standards, would be a New Mexico, a Tennessee, and a Colorado. So that's 6 more battleships. And then battlecruiser Lexington would be 7 ships total, if I'm not mistaken. Russia only has 2 or 3 more ships, I think. Britain has quite a few more interesting ones. So they have Vanguard, King George V, Nelson, which is 3, and that's already like the World War II stuff. Then of course you have the Queen Elizabeth class, so that's 4. What am I missing? Like famous ships wise? Well, more of the these battle cruisers, the R class, the Lion, so that's 6. So yeah, Britain has quite a few battleships to go, and they're all quite varied. That's why I genuinely think, battleship-wise, Britain's going to be the most interesting tech tree. Possibly not the best, but definitely the most interesting. Japan, generously, has 4 more ships to go, being Nagato itself, but then an AA fit. Then the Tosa class and the Amagi class as unfinished 16-inch battlecruiser battleship. And then if you want to give them both Yamatos and both fits, I guess that'd be 5. But realistically speaking, Japan has 2 more different ship classes to add. Because the Tosas and Amagis are actually noticeably different in whole size. Key could work, but is the key really noticeably different to what we already have? I don't think so, but I'm not sure. So yeah, they're all a bit... we are running out of battleships, really, but at the same time we really aren't. It's weird. Top tier ships are just weird edition-wise. Anyways, I was playing Coastal, wasn't I? What to play? If any of you have an idea of what Coastal vehicles to play, I don't have that one yet. Just hit me with a Coastal BR and I might play it. As I'm trying to think of what I could play. I think I'm just gonna play the BM-21 because that's a really fun boat. Okay. I just want to single click on it. Thank you very much. There we go. Top tier coastal as in coastal or frigates? Because that is different. And I have lineups for both. I could do frigates. And I could do SATA. Frigates. I'll do frigates. I still have to grind some camos for my Japanese frigates, I guess. Or I could actually play a battle in my British one and continue that grind. We want to be actually... Do we want to be an open water or do we want to try and shoot at stuff going to A? I think we want to go try and shoot stuff going to A. We are up tier to 3-7 at least. But we can deal with that. Coming back to the discussion on battleships, I do really wish Gaijin would just hurry up continuing progressing on naval. Because again, naval has been out for 8 years. We've had battleships for 4. And we've only just broken into 16-inch guns. And we're still getting new World War I dreadnoughts. Or dreadnought battle cruisers as well. Not that I really dislike the World War I dreadnoughts, but I just wanted pretty World War II battleships at some point. Because they are a very cool looking... Is that a player? It is not. Is that a player? It is not. That one looks like a player there. It is. I've missed everything. Not one of those are gonna hit. Damn. Well, let's try it against the destroyer spawns then, I guess. Can I lob these missiles over the island? I can. I need to shoot the front of the boat actually, not the rear. Direct hit on a flagstaff is always funny.
Enemy forces have captured a zone.
I didn't want to direct hit the flagstaff a second time, to be honest. Oh well. And there we go. Got 2 boats at least. But now this is gonna be game over for me. I haven't, and there's no real way I can try that out without, you know, getting to a cap in a PGO2, and that's pretty difficult at 3.3, I'm not gonna lie.
Forces have captured a zone.
There's a candid up. Okay, that's gonna be a bit difficult. It's at player 183. I really don't like these 25s. 4 of them do seem to shred on the normal 183. I've just my bridge, some acceleration is a bit dodgy. Kinda wish I saved some of the rockets for the Candid. You know what I think? Actually, I don't think it'll work on the PGO-2 because the PGO-2's gun overheats. Whilst the 20 mils on that propeller boat and the German barges do not overheat. Because, you know, they have to reload way before they'll overheat. Why am I not reloading my gun at all? Are the two belts like synchronized somehow, the two guns? Where one of the barrels has to reload, the other one can still fire. I think that's what's going on. Well, I'm not going to complain about infinite firing these guns. That is indeed a PGO-2. It does indeed have a modification to lower the RPM. The fact it's sailing away is kind of annoying, because I wanted to try and RT it. I really should have saved some rockets. But I get the distinct feeling this match is over anyways, because our destroyers do not realize that there are more than one capture point for them to attack. No, generally... Well, it'll overheat slower, I think. I'll actually check out the PGO-2 after this battle. But there is not really a reason to have it installed. You will conserve a bit more ammo, stuff like that, but other than that, just don't equip it. The funny thing is, I think they added it to somewhat nerf the PGO-2, because PGO-2 back in the day was really overpowered. It was a menace back when it was first introduced. Because it was one of those boats where you had to shoot every hull module and the bridge to be able to sink it. And that's no longer the case, but that was the case at some point. Also, why are you sailing away from the battle? What is going on here? I'm going to just try and decap. He's reversing, so he's not going to get into my artillery strike at all. But there we go. Look at that. It would have been a pretty decent artillery strike as well. Would I be able to knock out those 40s? A lot of them looking at me, not really. Nope, nope, no, I can't knock out those 40s. Down. Guess I'll try and bomb something instead.
Покинуть корабль!
Sometimes I wonder how on earth that happens. Because looking at his trajectory, he came from around the sea point area. He didn't come from up there, did he? So how did the destroyer slip past? Now, how is not dead yet? Where are you in Wolf? LS3 that doesn't have depth charges, that's why. Being shot at by, I hope, player ships, but I kind of doubt it. And well, let's try and lead this boat. There we go. That is a direct hack into the turret and a blown up. Perfect. The AR-2, unironically, is one of my favorite strike aircraft for Russia, especially at lower battle ratings. Because it's decently quick and it has air brakes and a bomb sight. And I cannot live without my bomb sight. That and carrying 3 500s is also a big plus. There is something right behind that island, I think. Now either I try to strike it. It's the PT boat. Okay, that's just one of my tail parts. I can do without that. For now. For now. That PT boat over there is going to absolutely shred me though. Come on. Maybe that bomb will get off accurately. Maybe? Not at all.
Attention to the designated grid zone.
Well. Let's try a fast torpedo boat then.
The enemy is winning. We've got to counterattack.
I'm gonna depth charge this river boat. Or at least that's the plan. That's a destroyer in between the two caps. That's not great. Or you can sink that, it's also fine. Those guns do seem to be about to track on me. Okay, so I'll just decap B. And move to try and hit them as quickly as possible. Let's launch a torpedo. Never mind. Okay, the torpedo did manage to get away. And I'm out. And we'll leave it at that for that battle. Match. That was indeed fast. And that is what happens when you play higher BR coastals and you face destroyers. And other higher BR coastals. PGO2 I was going to look at, wasn't I? It is in the coastal fleet, it is just a premium. That is 3-3, is it in the 3-3 lineup? No. Let me just slam it in there. So yeah, so let's go to a test drive, that's where I want to click, test drive. So if I do current, this will be the high rate of fire 20 mil, which is very effective. Let's see how long it takes to seize. Around about 5 seconds, I'd say, before it just jams the gun. Let's see what happens when we take the mod. So by that we just go into test sale again and do it on a reference, because reference is a fully upgraded vehicle. And you can hear it's a low rate of fire. Which takes a lot longer to sink a ship, and I've almost overheated the gun trying to sink it. But it does take a lot longer to overheat, but you're going from 3000 RPM to 450 for, let's see how long it takes to jam. Like 9 to 10 seconds. So you maybe double the overheat time, but you're more than half the rate of fire. And does it say in the X-ray view what the rate of fire is? Not really. But yeah, there is just no reason to ever equip that modification. Now, I was going to do high tier coastal, and for that, I'll take British high tier coastal and the Blackpool. Because why not grind a little bit of that, but just one match of that, and I'll see what it'll do after that. Who would have seen that defeat coming? But yeah. I think I'll make this the last match of the stream. We've been going for almost 3 hours again. But it is one more match to go, and depending on how long the queue will be, we'll see how long that'll stretch. Please don't jinx it. I'd rather not having to fight Noxus, because they're really difficult to deal with, and something with only a single turret. Although 3.7 matchmaking does seem to be a bit more forgiving, so you don't usually fight 4.7s all the time. Green Mountains Gulf is a good beginning, because I don't think you can see this map at higher BRs, or BR destroyers. Also just a fun map for frigates. Can't you on this thing? I didn't even click the button. You indeed can't. Dardo is 3.7, Busbush Chutney is 3.7. That's 3.3, Pete 59 is 3.3, Shakal is 3.3 as well, I think, or 3.7 one of the two, but it doesn't seem to be an up tier at all. Ikazuchi is being shoved by the Shakal. No familiar names on either team. Badly.
Destroyer. Bearing 180. 7,000 meters. Action station. Enemy spotted.
Apparently my crew can see a destroyer over there. At that exact bearing. I think I might have Superman on my crew. Being able to see through mountains.
Starboard your helm. Aye, steer starboard.
The worst? I don't know. It depends on what you classify as worst. Because at the same time, I do not see it, the Italian battleship being the same top BR as other top BR ships. Or battleships for other nations. Like, I think Littorios will be fine as long as their BR reflects their capabilities. Compared to stuff like the Iowas, the Yamatos. Good evening. That is indeed the one hope we have to have. I'm not entirely sure what naval medals he's referring to, but I will. These ones, these are depth charge launchers, but I don't have the depth charges unlocked, so they don't have any depth charges in them. But they're turrets that can rotate 360 degrees and then elevate and stuff. Although I think in game they actually launch at a fixed range, whilst in real life they'll be able to do various ranges. Pretty cool. The limbo mortars. Load HE just to knock out his turrets before he knocks out mine, but of course that he already has done. And it's a 12-second repair, really. There we go. Torpedoes on the way. Okay, there go the rear turrets. There go the front. One turret still up. I have also noticed that using high explosive on these guns does actually do a decent amount of damage against these earlier destroyers. Because you're more likely to splash into the hull compartments and splash your guns and stuff like that. My guns cannot depress that much over the bow. Come on. There we go. And dispersion says no. I'm going to go around the island because I do not want to get torpedoed. Does mean I am kind of leaving the Dardo to dry in the wind. But I do not want to eat a Bespus chutney torpedo. Or whatever that boat was. Or ship. Load the sap, because the Leopard does have quite a resilient fuel tank around his engines. Although it seems to be out of my sight at the moment. incredibly tempted to just go farm the coastal vessels over there, but I'll go and capture B. That's a flagstaff with a 40mm, i.e. a boring flagstaff.
Allied forces have captured a zone.
Starboard your helm.
Load the sap again. Yeah, we can actually hit his engines. Not at the moment, no. I've been playing a bit of 1.0 at the start of the stream, but quickly find out why not a lot of people play 1.0 for fun. It is a bit rough. Very, very difficult ships.
4,000 meters. Overshot.
Our victory is near.
Load the HE to deal with his turrets.
Port your helm.
And of course he immediately knocks out mine. Torpedoes is on the way as well, I think. Immediately knocks out the front turret again. And again.
The Allied forces have captured a zone.
The 40mm won't do anything to a Leopard. And I do not have the gun angle to actually use the 40mm if I wanted to stay bow on. I'm backing up because I do know that the Leopard launched torpedoes at some point. Yeah, for some reason the high explosive does seem to work better for me from this boat than the sap does. Although on a T-22 you want to shoot right here underneath the bridge, because that's where the magazine is for it.
A little more effort and victory will be ours.
Of course the question is if I can hit it with these guns and my aim. I'm way undershooting. There goes the bridge. Just a little bit lower. Okay, now I'm not gonna shoot that magazine anymore because it's a waste of time with only 18% crew on the enemy vessel. And the enemy can sink him anyways, or apparently can sink him. I do need to watch my surroundings every now and then.
Overshot. Collision on. Port.
Let's get moving again and maybe try and get to the sea point.
Near hit.
I don't have any HEVT yet, so I'll just have to rely on the 40mm to deal with any aircraft. That or just contact Shizuichi. Straight to the dome might work as well.
Keep it up and victory will be ours.
Got some engine damage, can't move at full speed. But that's fine. We have the upper hand in this match for the time being. Oh boy. So the HG loaded, perfect. That means I can take out his turrets in a rapid succession. There we go. Load this up next, it just demolishes engines. There we go. One more shell. Perfect. Didn't see him launch any torpedoes, but we do need to be vigilant. I don't see any trails. And the match is going to be more than over by the time we get to the sea point. On the 9 have no bombs anymore, so let's ignore it. And put our gunners on that target. Yeah, that year 2 is not happy with me. And I really wish I had VT round right now. Why is my 40 mil not opening up? Because it's damaged, that's why. Luckily the match is already over. And there we go. And I do think I'm going to end it here for tonight, because it has been another 3 hours. And let's see what I have planned for next week. I do have a 2-week holiday right now, so I should, if I can actually get out of my procrastination, be able to make a few videos over the coming 2 weeks. And I'm going to try, and I do mean try, get the Scharnhorst over the coming week, but that's going to be a hefty grind to try and get it. So that is on my to-do list, getting Scharnhorst next week. And making videos, as usual. That's always on my to-do list. Anyways, thank you all for watching, and I will see you around about the usual time next week.